All right, so here we are so far. Move this stuff out of the way. So I've got this bracket done mostly. I'm going to come back and re-weld this. I just hit it with a little flux core welder I had to tack it in place. Did the same thing here. So got this bracket, and when I had this, obviously this was very wobbly, so I had play. When you move the shaft, it didn't exactly correspond to this. There was a little bit of flex here before it started actually moving. So now it's exactly like it should be, as far as I can tell. So when you move it, it immediately begins to move correctly, as it should. So originally I just made this piece, and so I drilled and tapped a hole into the side here, made this little thing really quick. I had a piece of this out there and drilled and tapped that to where it gives me a nice brace, nice and solid to here. So that does away with my motion problem. I did finally get my nuts in. These are the nylon kind to where they actually lock in place. So I've got one for here, and I've got one for here. So just got to make a spacer to go here where that's not threaded. So when this screws on, it will screw against something into that thrust washer. So that'll contain that part. Let's see, the next big thing is this, figuring out where I'm going to mount it. As you can see, I've got the pulley and a few of these little timing belts here. I've got some longer ones coming, some different lengths, so I can play with that some. Debating on using one of these or one of these for this axis. I've got another pulley just like this one coming, to where if I want to use one of these, I've got another pulley. I've also got this linear rail here. So I think what I'm going to eventually do, and I've kind of laid these out where they're probably going to end up being. So you've got these two, I don't know what you call these things, travel-y things, and this. So if you look at this, and it travels all the way back to here, it's going to give me essentially this much travel, which is more than enough for this lathe. So I've got a 16-inch swing. I think this is a 16-inch swing. I don't remember. But essentially that's going to give me more than enough travel to make what I need to make. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. The tool rest would sort of rest in this general vicinity. So, you know, you can come all the way out to here. I may put the rest out here, as far out this way as I can get it. That's probably better. Or make, you know, a place to kind of bolt it in multiple places. So I've got some really nice heavy gauge steel that I'll probably end up making that part out of. And it'll probably be essentially just this big. And then I'm going to make some sheet metal covers that cover this and that cover this. So the cover will probably extend out, you know, to here. And I'll figure that out whenever I get to it, but you get the idea. So I'll have something there. So there's the top. I'm still debating on if I want to use these. And they just happen to, you know, when I measured it, I ordered them, and I mean, they're just about perfectly sized. So that worked out pretty good, I thought. But that would give me that axis, and it would be less friction and easier, I think, than using the one that's on here. But I don't know. We'll figure that out. I'm kind of scared to drill and tap into this in case I do want to use the original top slide. Just not sure if that's the direction I want to go yet or not, but, you know, figure that out. Again, I don't think I'm going to be doing really heavy cuts with this lathe. I just don't see it. The beauty of CNC to me, and especially with something like this, is I don't have to do heavy cuts. I can do a bunch of smaller, lighter cuts if I need to, and it's still faster than me doing it myself. So yeah, it's never going to be a production machine, but it will be something that I can do things that that one will not do. So, you know, but anyway, I am finally starting to make progress. I think I originally said that I was going to make this a mount that would go, you know, sort of like this. But I think what I'm going to do is bring it around to here. So that will actually, oh, that thing's heavy. Give me, you know, I can put it right in this area. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do tension, belt tension. So I thought about making a mounting plate where the motor would slide up and down this way. So I could slide the motor up or slide it down and adjust the tension of the belt. That may be my easiest way to do it. I don't know. I'm still trying to work on that. So that's one way to do it. And this one, I think, depending on the motor I use. So if you look at this motor, so you can see that I'm barely in line and my motor is actually hitting my screw. So, I mean, I could maybe make this work with one of these big ones. I've wondered if I could find like a shorter version of this. You know, it wouldn't be quite as torquey, but it would probably maybe be better than one of these. But yeah, that one, I've got more than enough room to mount that one. And I can come off of that plate. And what I was kind of thinking is, again, have a sliding setup here to set my tension on the belt. So I could also do a tilting setup or tilting setup where it kind of tilts away. I don't know. That's going to be one of the next things I figure out. I can't wait to at least get these hooked up and then figure out my wiring and all that good stuff. So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Finally starting to get some stuff in. I am waiting on all the belts and pulleys to come in for this thing. For gears, I don't know what you call these. I guess it's a pulley. I've already got a bunch of wires, some shielded wire for that. I've got the connectors for this. I've got connectors for this. So I've got everything that I basically need to hook all this stuff up. As far as wiring, I ordered that chute a year ago. I do need to figure out, so this came with all this stuff. So I've got to figure out what all that is. I think those little black rails are to where you can kind of sit them here and roll these off onto them to where you're not losing the internals. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking, to keep these sort of close together. That way most of the tension will be shared by all four of these. It'll keep it, you know, where it flexes pretty well. The only way I could think about alignment here was go here, drill and tap for my first one, and then use my spindle with a, let me see if I've still got it. Let's see here, where's it at? Something like this, to where I can put this in my spindle, like so, and then come around like this and see if I'm, you know, so 0 here, come around and 0 here. So once I get this set and I get my 0 here, then I could come around and 0 it here. And once I get a 0 in both places, well, then that tells me I'm perfectly, perpendicular to the spindle, which is what I need. Once I got this one set, then I could use this one and set me up something to where I could sweep this one with that one. So these two would then be perfectly perpendicular. So it would start by drilling and tapping this first one here and on that side. Get that one right with the spindle. Then get this one right with this one. And then finish going through these holes here, drilling, tapping them all. That way I could get them all put down, figure out if I need to shim anything, and go from there. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting that done. That's if I'm going to use this. I'm still debating on that. Once I do that, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take all this apart again and take this block that I've got and weld a piece. So I'm going to set something over this, like a parallel or something, and measure the gap between here and there, and then make myself a block that I can weld to the top here, and then drill and tap it. So then I'd have a way to go 4 bolts into it, and make sure it lines up perfectly with my thing up here. So that would be what carries it back and forth. So yeah, I think this part shouldn't be terribly hard to do. I think we'll be pretty good with that. And I think I'll be able to make this axis work pretty easily. I've got a little bit more easily accessible ways to make all of this work. So that'll be nice. This one's the one that I'm sure I can find a way to do it, but I'm just kind of stumped right now. So for a good way to make this one work. I've got this plate that goes on here that I've got to find a way to drill that to where it will go back on. I think. So anyway, I may just not even use that. So I don't want to, use a mounting system here if I do want to use this. Or I could come off the back side here and do some type of a mount that ties into this when it bolts on. I don't know. So my question for anybody out there that knows is my motor size. Again, I realize that I am guessing at most of this stuff. I looked online and there doesn't seem to be a lot of people that actually take on these larger lathes and turn them into a CNC lathe. You see a ton of people that will take a knee mill and make it a CNC. You really don't see that much for these. So that's, I don't know if that's because it's a bad idea or what, but, I guess we'll find out. So if anybody knows, tell me if that motor will be adequate for this axis or if I need to go with one of these. Anyway, you guys have a great night.